Hey Sag, we are asking the question of how can you deepen love? How can you deepen love and connection in relationship? It can be romantic love, it can be friendship love, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? But how can you deepen love? How can you deepen your connection? Or what are your blocks to love? What are your blocks to deeper connection for Sagittarius? Okay. Let's take a look. All right, so far we have the Queen of Swords, the Sun, the Tower, and Strength. Okay. Well, first of all, I would say that the Queen of Swords is really an energy of give me a second. Let me feel into this a little bit more. Okay. How does Sagittarius deepen love? Okay. So I'm really feeling like this Queen of Swords, I feel like has withdrawn. That was the hit I got on this. So I feel like you might have a tendency to, when things get a little hard, you might have a tendency to withdraw, okay? And so what that can mean for the other half, right, the partner in the relationship, is that they might really interpret that as you not caring about the connection. If your tendency is always to withdraw if things get hard, or even if things get good, actually, because the Sun is here. And so it's like, are you sharing in the goodness? Are you sharing that with your partner, right? When the goodness comes forward, are you sharing that with your partner, or are you keeping it to yourself? Okay, are you withdrawing? But also, even when the times are hard and things seem to be falling apart, are you withdrawing and trying to handle it on your own or do it on your own? Because you don't have to. And when you talk about like building connection, building intimacy, that really does require you to be present, for both the good and the bad, right? It requires you to be present, you know, in partnership with another, right? To share with another those times of enlightenment and awareness and joy and passion, and when things feel great, like share that with someone, right? Share that with a partner for deeper connection. But also when times are not so great, right? The Tower is really a card of representing of like kind of chaos and things falling apart. But if you notice here, there's also butterflies, right? So one, the illusion is kind of being dispersed with the Tower card in this particular card, and the butterflies are forming. And so it's definitely an energy of transformation. And what better way to connect with someone? What better way to build trust, to build what's the word I'm looking for? Like when you can count on someone, right? When you can rely on someone. I guess that's still trust. Like what better way to do it in times of need, right? To build those connections, to allow someone to show up for you, allow someone to show you that you can trust them, right? You can connect. It is okay to have a connection with somebody. And maybe there may have been, disappointments in the past in that realm, right? Like maybe you've kind of stepped into this Queen of Swords energy because you feel that you can't count on people, that the only person that you can count on is yourself. And so you might as well, just be by yourself and count on yourself. And like you can't open up and be vulnerable enough to trust someone else, to rely on somebody else. And so, you take it all on on your own, but that is an energy of protection. That is an energy of building walls in order to protect yourself, okay? And of course we want to protect ourselves. Of course we want to protect our ego, but we have to find the balance, because what walls do is not only protect us from the outside, it also shuts us off from the outside. It shuts us off from, from deep connection, from the beautiful energies of life. And so this, this strength here is showing up to really show you and ask you to exercise some real bravery around opening up, around letting down your walls. It does require some strength. It does require some bravery, to be open, right? To allow others in. But the rewards, I think you've learned enough in this stage of the Queen of Wands, right? Because the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords, she's also somebody who is going, she's always carrying her sword of truth, and she's ready to cut shit out, like, immediately. Like, don't mess with her, because she will cut your head off, right? Like, so you've been in this energy of the Queen of Swords enough that it doesn't have to be walls anymore, but it can be boundaries. If you look at this card, you'll see here, this cup. There's a cup present, but it's locked up behind this cage, right? So it's almost like communicating this idea of shutting off emotions, right? Shutting off vulnerability, shutting off flow, yeah? And so, if you're in this energy too long, of only the Queen of Swords, then you are shutting yourself off to the softer things, the emotional part of life, right? And there's 4 suits in the tarot. It's the swords, the wands, the cups, and the pentacles. And these all represent the 4 elements, right? Earth, air, fire, and water. And, these are the things that make us up. These are the ingredients of life. And we have to find balance around these 4 elements, in order to become whole, really. Okay. So this Queen of Swords energy is a good energy to have, but not in solidarity. She still has to welcome in the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, okay? Because those are all of the archetypes that when we balance them, they lead us into the position of the Empress, okay? And that is an energy of pure creation. So again, right, just to kind of like wrap it up for you, you can't shut yourself off to the world. Yes, that will protect you from hurt and pain for the most part, not always, but it will protect you from those harder emotions of life, the harder things in life, but it'll also really block you from the more beautiful things in life as well, okay? And so ultimately what happens is you're just alone. You're just withdrawn. You're just by yourself. You're not connecting with others. And when it comes down to it, the connections that we have with others are really the most beautiful things that we have in life. It is our connection to people, to animals, to nature, to to the world around us, to ourselves. It is connection that makes those things beautiful and worthwhile. Okay, so you can do this. Like, open yourself up a little bit. Like, let down those walls. Um, you know, and be vulnerable. And don't be afraid to be hurt, because that's also a natural part of life too. But what you can do is transmute that hurt, right? You can take that hurt and turn it into something powerful. You can turn it into strength. You can turn it into resilience. You can turn it into bravery. Okay, so just know that it's don't be afraid of pain or chaos or hurt, because you're perfectly capable of moving past those things, and learning from them and growing from them. Okay, Sag, that is the message for you for deepening love. Yeah, good luck. It's not an easy thing to do, but I know that you can do it, and it will enrich your life in very, very meaningful ways. All right? Alrighty. Love you lots. Aloha.